going to start our fractions unit. Today, we're just going to do a review of fractions. We'll review fractions as regions and sets, and fractions with division. So today, we'll be able to identify the fractional parts of a region and a set, and divide sets to show fractional parts. We'll also be able to describe fractions as division. So we talk about fractional parts of a region. We're talking about one thing that's cut up into pieces. When we talk about fractional parts of a set, we're talking about a group of objects. Okay, so a fraction is a symbol that names part of a whole, such as 2/3 or 1/2. So remember that we reviewed fractions when we talked about angles as fractions are part of a circle. Okay, so our denominator tells is the number on the bottom, and it tells how many equal parts there are in all. The numerator is the number on top. It tells how many equal parts are described. So when we look at the fraction 2/3, 3 is the denominator. So this drawing right here is a way we could model 2/3. It's 2/3 because we have one whole set, one whole group, and we have 3 things in that group. So we have thirds here because there are 3 total in the set. So that's how we got the denominator. 2 are shaded, so 2/3, or 2 out of 3, or 2/3 are all ways we can write that fraction. So the part that's shaded is 2, and the whole is 3. For the fraction 1/2, we have, this is a region because it's one thing that's cut into pieces. So we have one whole cut into 2 pieces. So 2 is the denominator, it's the total number of pieces in the whole. 1 is the part that's shaded. So 1 out of 2 is shaded, or 1/2. Fractions can be used to represent several different things. So fractions can be used to represent part of a whole or a region. So that's when you have one thing that is cut up into pieces. So remember, we can use a tape diagram to model fractions. We've got one whole. So we've got our 1 yard across the top to show this represents one whole. It is divided into 3 pieces, so each piece is 1/3. One of those pieces is shaded, so 1/3 is shaded. That means we have 1/3, 2/3 that are not shaded. Fractions can also be used to represent part of a set or a group. So this shows one whole set or one whole group. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 things in the set. So that means that each object represents 1/5 of the set. So when it says the fraction of the set that are circles, we have 1, 2, 3 that are circles. So 3/5 of the set are circles. 1, 2 are rectangles. So 2/5 of the set are rectangles. Okay. Fractions can also be used to represent division. So before I go over this example, I'll show you just another quick way we can think about this. So when we have our one whole, and we cut it into 2 pieces. So what we're really doing here, so we've talked about before that you cannot divide a smaller number by a bigger number. We've talked before that you cannot divide a smaller number by a bigger number. That is true if we're trying to get a whole number as our answer. But we're going to talk about today, you actually can divide a smaller number by a bigger number if the answer is a fraction that's less than one whole. So we have one whole here. If I cut it into 2 pieces, the division problem that that is actually 1 divided by 2. So when I divide one whole into 2 pieces, each piece is less than that whole. Because here was one whole, we're not getting bigger, we're just making each piece from the one whole. So what that means is one whole divided into 2 pieces is actually equal to 1/2. So we can use fractions to show division, because the total divided by the number of pieces gets us the fraction 1/2. So 1 divided by 2 is actually equal to 1/2. So next example, Tom, Joe, and Sam made clay pots using 2 rolls of clay. If they shared the clay equally, what fraction of the clay did each friend use? So we have 1 whole clay, roll of clay, and another roll of clay, so 2 rolls of clay. We are trying to split it between 3 people. So the division problem that we're trying to do here is 2 wholes divided by 3. So we're going to cut each whole into 3 pieces. We're not going to call these sixths because we are only using the denominator out of the number of pieces in the whole. So since this one whole has 3 pieces and this one whole has 3 pieces, these are thirds. So if we cut each roll into 3 pieces for each friend, we give Tom 1 piece, we give Joe 1 piece, we give Sam 1 piece. So Tom is going to get 1/3 from this roll, Joe will get 1/3, Sam will get 1/3. We're then going to cut the second roll into 3 pieces, which are also thirds. We can give Tom another 1/3, Joe another 1/3, and Sam another 1/3. So Tom is going to get 1/3 and 1/3 is 2/3. Joe's going to get 1/3 and 1/3, that's 2/3. Sam is going to get 1/3 and 1/3, that's 2/3. So what that means is 2 divided by 3 is 2/3. So we can divide that smaller number by that bigger number because 2/3 is a fraction, it's part of a whole, so it's less than a whole. So we can divide a smaller number by a bigger number if the answer is a fraction that's less than 1 whole. All you do is take the total, divide it by the number that you're trying to share it with. That first number becomes your numerator, that second number becomes your denominator. So we thought about sharing of 2 rolls between 3 people. Divide each roll into 3 equal parts. Share the parts equally between the 3 boys. Each person uses 1 part from each roll, or 2 parts total. So 2 divided by 3 is 2/3. The total is the dividend. The 2, it goes on top. The amount you're dividing it among is the divisor, and it goes on the bottom. It's the denominator. Next example. 4 friends want to share 3 Subway sandwiches. How much of a sandwich will each friend get? So we have 3 things that we're trying to share. We're trying to share it between or among 4 people. So the division problem we're trying to do is 3 divided by 4. So we have 3 wholes. 1 whole, 2 wholes, 3 wholes. We cut each whole into 4 pieces because we're trying to divide 3 wholes and share it with 4 people. So because each whole has 4 pieces, we don't count up the total number of pieces. To find those fourths, or the denominator, we only count the number in each piece. So there's 4 pieces in this one. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4. We have fourths. We have 4 pieces in this one, so we have fourths. 4 pieces in this one, so we have fourths. So we're going to call each friend A, B, C, and D. So friend A can get this piece. Friend B can get this piece, friend C can get this piece, friend D can get this piece. We cut this one into fourths. Friend A, friend B, friend C, friend D can each get 1 piece. This one into fourths. Friend A, friend B, friend C, friend D. So when you look at how much of the sandwich each friend can get, 1 friend A can get 1/4, friend A can get another 4, friend A can get another 4th, so that's 1/4, 2/4, 3/4. So that means that each friend can have 3/4 of the sandwich. Notice it's going to be the same thing. Friend B gets 1/4, 2/4, 3/4. Friend C gets 1/4, 2/4, 3/4. Friend D gets 1/4, 2/4, 3/4. So each friend gets 3/4.